characteristic is sophisticated visual presentations. So usually visual presentation is the visual aspect of the interface. It is what people see on the screen. So the sophistication of a graphical system permits displaying lines, includes drawings and icons. It also permits the displaying of a variety of character fonts, including different sizes and styles. See, usually the meaning of interface element visually presented to the user in a graphical system includes windows. Either it can be a primary window, secondary window, or a dialog box, menu. In menu, we can have menu bar, pull down, pop up, cascading, icons we can use to represent the objects such as programs, files, and we can have a screen based control such as text box, list box, combination box, settings, scroll bar, buttons, and we have a mouse pointer as well as cursor. That is the first is sophisticated visual representation. Second characteristics is pick and click interactions. To identify a proposed action is commonly known as pick. The signal to perform an action is called as click. So the primary mechanism for performing this pick and click is most often, usually it is the mouse only and its button, and the secondary mechanism for performing this selected action is keyboard. Okay, that is the second characteristic. Next is restricted set of interface option. So the array of alternative available to the user is what is presented on the screen or what may be retrieved through what is present on the screen, nothing less or nothing more. So usually it is a concept of what you see is what you get. So next concept is visualization. It is a cognitive process, okay, that allows the people to understand the information that is difficult to perceive because it is either too voluminous or it is too abstract. So the goal is not necessary to reproduce a realistic graphic image, but to produce one that convey the most relevant information. So effective visualizations can facilitate the mental insights, increase the productivity, and more accurate use of data. So next is object orientations. So in object orientation, graphical system usually consists of objects as well as actions. Objects are what people see on the screen as a single unit. So objects can be composed of super objects. For example, an object may be a document. Its object can be either paragraph or sentence or word or letter you are going to use in the document. Now the objects can be classified into classes as data objects, which contains information, container objects, which is used to hold other objects, and device objects, which represents the physical objects in the world. So objects can exist within the context of other objects, and one object may affect the way another object appears or behave. So these relationships we are going to call it as collections or constraints or containers. So next we have action. So people will take action on objects. Already we have discussed some of the actions. Means we are going to manipulate the objects in a specific way, either by making use of command, or we can modify the properties of the objects. Properties can be an attribute specification. So for example, user can select the object, or you can select several words of text. You can make it bold, or you can make it italic, underline. All those things comes under actions. Okay, now we have two things. One is application versus object data orientation. Application orientation will have action like the application is open, or you can select the object like that. Object oriented approaches, object is chosen and the application is selected. For example, it's a word processing. Next important characteristic is view. View is nothing but the way of looking at an object information, which describe four kinds of views: composed, contents, settings, and helps. Next characteristic is use of recognition memory. So continuous visibility of the objects and the action encourages to eliminate out of sight, out of mind problems. And the last property is concurrent performance of functions. So graphic systems may do two or more things at one time. So multiple programs may run simultaneously. So it may process background task, which we call it as cooperative multitasking or preemptive multitasking. So data may also be transferred between the programs. It may be temporarily stored on the clipboard for later transfer, or it may be automatically swapped between the programs. So these are some of the characteristics of graphical user interface, whatever we have discussed. Next class, we are going to discuss about the web interface, which is actually a design. It is essentially the design of navigation and the presentation of information. Okay, thank you.